welcome back to the channel. And as you can see, we just torqued down most of the suspension components in the front end of this car. Radius arm nuts, we checked those. We can't torque them because there's no way to get anything on there now. We'd have to disassemble half the car. So with that being said, I think we're good to go on the front end now. So we've got everything put back together, including the brakes and rotors and all that. So I bet you're wondering why it's not wheels down and rolled out of the garage yet. And that is, we have the oiling issue. I mentioned this in the last video. We have a sensor that's leaking out of the block. Let me show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's a 24 mil socket, which I have sitting in this bag. It's a 24 mil socket that goes over it and it tightens. But in order for us to get to that, we have to take off the oil filter, and we need to also take off or loosen the sandwich plate and rotate a little bit so we can get past the turbo feed. If we're going to get to that length, we might as well do the oil leak system changes and change the oil that needs to happen anyway. So we got a jug of 1040 Castrol GTX oil that we need to put in the car. So we got to change the oil because we did its initial break-in. We drove it around a little bit, we got the motor running. The other thing we want to change is the angle of the dangle on our drain. So the turbo drain right now, because of the way that the K-Series kind of sits, it kind of sits at an angle, which means if you have straight out of the side of the pan, you kind of have this low spot in the hose, and you don't really want that. So what we did is I bought another 45 degree. This is the Evil Energy. It's an AN fitting. So that way we could put this on our hose and one, shorten the hose, and two, put this adapter on it to try and limit how much is sitting in there and effectively not draining out to the pan. So we're gonna trim that end, put a 45 on it, solve that. Alright, so anytime I go panning for gold, I typically will drain it into a pan like this and then pour it into this at a slower rate so that the solids will stay and then the liquid will drain. So we're gonna do that now, do a little bit of panning and see what we get remaining from there to there. This guy, pour a little bit. It looks like there's some small bits, but that's to be expected with kind of like a new build, because that's why you're doing break-in, is you're gonna have some shit in it. Yeah, there's a lot of fine material in it. Let me show you what I'm looking for here. So this is gonna be really hard to probably pick up on camera, but I mean you can see some of the pieces. It looks like little flecks in the oil right there. That's part of it. But when I pour this, you're going to see a color differentiation in what's flowing. You can barely see it on camera. It's like streaks. You can kind of see it right there. It's the material, whether it be rings or the engine itself, that is wearing in as you work through the engine. See all that? This is why you change your oil after doing a break-in. It's because of that. It obviously has stuff in it, but this is expected. Like I said, the streaking, the material, it's pretty on par with what you should expect anytime you build an engine, mainly because the rings and the cylinder have to score themselves. They kind of make like a mechanical lock in the cylinder. That's what gives you your good compression. Without that, you obviously wouldn't have a working engine. Oh, this is gonna make a mess. turn. How tight is this damn filter, dude? I did this by hand. Oh, it's coming. Alright, cool. Here's the case. It decides to go. I forget where we were, but some days, man, some days. Alright, so in order to get to that sensor, it turns out that I needed to remove the oil, or the VTEC solenoid deal. It's probably a good thing we did, because look what I found in this brand new unit. There's some shmoo. Looks like a little bit of gasket material and some gunk. There you go. Some gunk that came out. Right there. Alright, I just kind of cleaned it out a little bit just to make sure it's all back to good and all that. But back to the matter at hand. Now that we got that off, you can now see the oil sensor down there. Right there. So now I just gotta tighten it up and put everything back together. There are 4 cops down that street right now, and at least 1 fire truck. Dude, that truck car needs brakes, man. Holy cow. That's crazy. Yikes. Now that the sensor's been tightened up and everything, there's only one more thing that we need to take a look at, and that is the wire. If you look right here, that wiring had its end ripped off. So we need to put a new end on it. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ever need a little adapter for the push-on pins for the either like the temp sensors on B series, T series, or if you need the K20A2 oil pressure solenoid sender deal, they're just little studs. There you go. The only thing we have left to do is put this back. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back now and hopefully not slice ourselves open on the all this stuff back here again. Alright, so everything's back together. We got the downpipe in. It's all bolted up. We got the wheels and tires on. It's still on jack stands. You can see it back there. But we got these plates. These are feet from a server rack, a network rack that I had. But they are pretty much toe plates. So if you don't know what toe plates are, basically people in motorsports use them as a budget alignment. These have a little notch in them already that basically allows me to hook up tape measure. What you do is you put them both against the tire, and then you can measure both and then get a measurement on one side, and it'll tell you how far towed in or towed out the measurement is. But they have better options than these rack things out there. Some of you can bolt directly to the hub, so you don't have to have it like tires down. Not all cars can do this when the suspension is unloaded. As a matter of fact, you should do this with the suspension loaded regardless, because it's going to show you if you have bump steer or something, it's going to factor all that. This car probably shouldn't have bump steer because it has a upper and lower control arm geometry, and I would think that these are pretty close to being the same dimensions. Don't quote me on that, but I think they're going to be close enough to at least get us to an alignment. So when you sit here and you're looking down the body line of the car, you can see that the tire's pretty much parallel. It's not bad. Go over here. When you look down the body line, you see that the tire is like poking out. You can see the obvious angle. So we're gonna loosen it. We're gonna spin that arm until this is pushed out, and then hopefully we'll be neutral. So I think this is the offender here. Okay. Alright, so it's not going to happen this video. I tried. We got some cluster issues and it's requiring some solder and soldering. So I'm going to go do that. We'll do that in the next video. This one's gone on long enough. And then we'll drive it. As long as I get the cluster working. So, stay tuned for the next video. I'll show you everything I'm doing to the cluster. I just want to seal this one up. And yeah, should be good to go. So far so good. So thanks for watching. See you later.